If I had to start saving again from zero, I wouldn't start by cutting my expenses because last time I did that, I ended up £27,000 in debt. I was doing everything people tell you to do: budget more, spend less, and somehow I was still going backwards. And that's when I realized it wasn't that I was bad with money, I was just doing things in the wrong order. And most people get this wrong without even realizing. Once I fixed that, everything changed. I paid off my debt, saved over £50,000, and finally felt in control of my money. So if I had to start again today, this is the exact plan I'd follow. Step one, know your monthly surplus. Before I tried to save anything, I had to understand one number: my monthly surplus. This is simply the amount you have left over after covering your monthly essential expenses such as rent, bills, food, and transport. And this is where most people go wrong. I used to get paid and think, great, I'm up, and start spending, and then try to save what was left, which was usually nothing. What I should have done is cover my essentials first, then save, and only spend what's left. If you skip this, I promise you'll keep trying to save and never see progress. So here's how you calculate it. Look at your bank statements, total your essential expenses, and subtract that from your monthly take-home pay. That number is what you can actually save before spending on anything else. You can use a budgeting app, a notebook and pen, whatever works for you. I have a free budget template you can use. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. Once I calculated my monthly surplus, everything changed because now I knew how much I needed to survive and what I actually had left to save. And that's the clarity that most people are missing. But here's the key. You want to keep this number as low as possible because the lower your essential expenses are, the more you'll have available to save. And I'll show you how to improve that in just a minute. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about giving yourself options, stability, and control. And that's exactly what helps me save £50,000 on a normal salary. But even after fixing this, I still had a problem. Life kept knocking me backwards financially. Step two, build a safety buffer. Once I knew my monthly surplus, the next thing I prioritized was a safety buffer. Now, this is separate from your big savings goal because life will always happen. And if you don't have a buffer, those moments will derail your progress. Every time I tried to save, something unexpected would come up, and I'd either have to dip into my savings or go straight back into debt. And I learned this the hard way. I remember my car broke down and I didn't even have enough to fix it. So I had to call a friend to ask to borrow the rest of the money. And I remember thinking, how am I earning a decent income and still this fragile financially? That's when it clicked. Earning money and managing money are two completely different skills. That moment changed everything for me. So if I was starting again, this is the first thing I'd build. Ideally, you want it to be 1 month of essential living expenses, but even £500 to £1,000 is enough to start because this isn't just savings, it's stability. It's the difference between a setback and starting over. The easiest way to do this is to automate it into a separate high interest savings account. Set it up to leave your account as soon as payday hits. Let technology do the work for you and earn some extra cash in the process. And once I fixed that, I moved on to the next step that most people completely skip. Step three, choose a clear goal. This is a mistake I see people make all the time. They try to save with no real reason, and that doesn't work because when things get hard or you have a setback, you'll give up. So instead, ask yourself, what exactly am I saving for and why? And be specific. I had been in debt for years, so my first goal wasn't an emergency fund because I really needed safety. Then it was a property deposit. And that clarity changed everything because before that, saving felt hard. But once I had a goal, it felt purposeful. And that's what makes consistency easier. Now, once you have your goal, you need a number and a timeline. So for example, if your goal is to save £20,000 in 2 years, that's about £833 a month. And because you know your monthly surplus, you'll know if that's realistic. If it's too high, you can stretch the timeline. That's fine. Progress matters more than speed. Now let me show you exactly what this looked like for me. At the time, I was making £2,000 a month. So £1,300 went to essential expenses, £500 went to savings, and £200 went towards fun spending. This is the budget that helped me start saving consistently. And once that became a habit, I made one small change that helps me save even faster. And that one small shift is what helps me go from saving slowly to building real momentum. And I'll show you exactly what that looked like in just a second. But the next step is where most people fall off. Step four, make it sustainable. This is where most people quit. Not because they're lazy, but because their plan isn't realistic. If your system is too hard to stick to, you won't stick to it. And I learned that the hard way. I'd be perfect for a week and then fall off completely. So I focused on removing friction. That meant reducing essential expenses, sticking to a simple budget like I showed you in step three, and paying down debt alongside saving, because you don't have to choose one over the other. And the biggest wins came from reducing the big three, which is housing, food, and transport, because that's where most of your money goes. So ask yourself, can you move to a cheaper area or get a roommate? Can you lower your transport costs? Can you be smarter with groceries? For me, food was an area I was overspending on, and it was the easiest win. So I created a weekly menu, shopped at cheaper grocery stores, and stuck to what I actually needed. And I cooked more at home. But here's the key: I didn't cut everything because I knew if I made my plan feel like punishment, I'd quit. So I gave myself a £200 monthly allowance to spend on things I enjoy, such as going out for dinner with my friends, going to a theatre show, or getting my nails done. It wasn't a lot, but it meant that I never felt completely restricted. Giving yourself an allowance does two important things. One, it gives you freedom without guilt, and two, it stops a cycle of saving, then binge spending, and starting over. And that balance is what made the system sustainable. Not on my best month, but on my worst. Because consistency beats intensity every time. And the next step is where things really started to change for me. Step 5, increase your income. At this point, I realized something important. There's only so much you can cut back, but there's no limit to how much you can make. So I shifted my focus. Yes, I kept optimizing my spending, but I also started increasing my income. For me, that meant switching to contracting, which significantly increased my income. I was earning more without working more. And that's when I realized I'd been trying to budget my way out of a problem that needed more income. That shift changed everything. I stopped thinking like someone trying to save money and started thinking like someone building wealth. And what I also realized is sometimes the real problem isn't spending, it's income. And it's often easier to add £200 of income than it is to cut £200 from your budget. And that completely changed how I approach my finances. So for you, that might look like negotiating a raise, starting a side hustle, selling unwanted items on platforms like Vinted or eBay. That's also one of the first things I did when I was trying to save money. I had loads of unworn shoes and clothes, so I sold them on eBay and put all of that extra money towards my savings. Once my income increased and my expenses stayed low, I was able to build up my savings much faster. But next, I'm going to talk about a mistake I made that I really want people to learn from. The mistake I made. Here's a mistake I made that no one talks about. I stayed in the saving phase for way too long. For me, saving meant safety, so I kept piling money into saving, even after I'd reached my goal. But what I should have done is move on to investing way sooner. And that cost me time, years, not months, and that's something I can never get back because I was doing the right thing just for too long. The truth is, while your money sits still, inflation is eating away at it. Think about it like this: saving protects your money, but investing grows it, which is super important so you don't fall behind. So don't get stuck in the saving phase forever. Once you reach your goal, redirect that money into investments. This is super, super important, so don't forget it. So if I had to start again from zero, this is exactly what I'd focus on. Understand your numbers, create a safety buffer, set a clear goal, make it sustainable, increase your income. Because none of this works if you stay stuck overthinking. But more than anything, I'd stop overthinking and just start. The truth is, you don't need a high salary or perfect discipline to build real savings. You just need a system that works for you. And if you want to take this one step further, watch this video next where I explain why keeping too much cash in your bank account could actually be holding you back. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more videos on building wealth on a normal income. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.